So, hello everyone, thank you for listening to this presentation. We are Plastehnik, and since we're limited on time, we're going to go straight to the problem. So the problem we're looking to resolve is the current state of our agriculture industry. So it's not a very good state. So in the last year, the food inflation has been at about 26%, and there is an ever-increasing crop failure rate due to inexperience and climate change. In addition to this, our farmsteads are very inefficient. We produce 4 to 7 times less per square meter compared to the Netherlands. And maintaining a greenhouse takes 6.5 hours a week, which is a pretty big problem when you have a very old demographic of agricultural workers. So what is our solution? It is a complex system, but in simple terms, we want to automate or produce smart semi-autonomous control systems, connect people who work in these communities, and help educate, so provide education for new or inexperienced partners. And what do we have so far? So this is our prototype. It is very tiny, but we are making this in December, so we couldn't make a full-scale model, but it's fully functional. This also is a good opportunity for me to mention that our system is modular and adaptive, so it doesn't matter how large the greenhouse is. We already have a controlling app for all of these different sensors and systems, and they can be set to self-regulate themselves depending on which crops you're growing at the time. So the system works pretty well so far. We just need to scale it up. So we have also designed an app that goes along with this product. So you can control your greenhouse remotely through this sort of control panel. You also gain access to our store where you can purchase additional modules for your greenhouse as well as other products related to agriculture. There's courses, so we want to cultivate knowledge and provide education from experts to inexperienced farmers. And finally, we want to build a community so you can share different things on the forum, you can discuss things, exchange advice with each other. So what are our main competitive advantages? So the increased yield would be close to double of what it currently is in Bosnia and Herzegovina on average. And you would at the same time need 60% less water, 80% less time, and you could leave your greenhouse for 2 weeks without having to worry about the health of your plants. Also, you would need 50% less pesticide, and very importantly, 80% less artificial fertilizer, which is getting really expensive with the crisis happening in Eastern Europe right now. So to give you some perspective on these numbers, if you have a 100 square meter greenhouse, you would increase your output by 1.5 tons of tomatoes in a year. You would also use 88,000 less liters of water and 160 working hours less in a year. So for 1,050 euro cash investment, you would return a 2,150 annual revenue as our customer. So what's our target market? The compound annual growth rate of the smart greenhouse market in Europe is around 8% right now. And our target customers will be anybody who owns or rents land. So worldwide, there is a potential market of 474 billion euro, but the serviceable more regional market is 908 million euro. However, the serviceable obtainable market for us would be 78,000 euro in the first year of operation, which is with 100 units sold. So what does the competition look like? If you look at this map, you can see most of these large companies are in either Scandinavia or Western Europe. So the area where we're in, there is very little competition. And our main competition would actually probably be the conventional greenhouse building companies. However, I can get back to that. We're actually planning to partner with some of them. So our business model, of course, relies on the sale of smart greenhouse control systems, software and hardware subscriptions, greenhouse system maintenance, and in-app purchases. So you could buy those courses or different products from the app. So our traction expansion plan, so in the first year, we just want to do testing and perfecting with about 40 units in Bosnia. Then we plan to enter the market with B2B models at first, since we have an agreement with Plantehnik, which really liked our idea and they were very supportive through the whole process. And that is the largest agricultural indoor facility, I guess, in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then we would focus on individual buyers after we establish some more capital and resources. And we would continue to further develop new modules such as AI for disease detection and CO2 injections. This is our team. We're all very young guys. However, between all of us, we have more than a decade of engineering and programming experience. In addition to that, we have 7 years of agriculture experience and a very diverse skill set, where at the moment, at least, we can cover all of the labor needs together. And so what do we offer? You can become an early adopter. You can give us €800 for an actual model, an actual system when we start building them, and you will get lifetime support for maintenance and similar things. Partnerships are negotiable, or you can get a 7% equity for €21,000. Thank you for listening, but before I finish, I also want to give special thanks to our future partners, Plantehnik and Xinjiang Greenhouse Technology Co. Limited. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm open.
Thank you, Zerin. It was right on the 5-minute mark. Holy moly. That was very, very precise. Lovely. Dražen, go for it.
Yeah. So actually, can you please explain in a bit more detail what's actually this smart part in the stuff that you're doing and what actually makes this stuff that you can get from your greenhouse with such big growth?
Yeah, okay. So if you look at some countries which have already started implementing these systems, such as the Netherlands, which is probably the market leader in this in Europe, they have increased their output massively since they can control conditions inside the greenhouse 24/7. This is something that's impossible for a normal farmer. And this is why our system is smart. With its sensors, if you're growing, let's say, tomatoes, you can set it to a tomato setting, and then it would make the perfect conditions for a tomato at any time of day or night. So if you get an unexpected early frost at 5 a.m. in the morning, it's going to adjust for this, and it's going to prevent the greenhouse from cooling down too much to keep those plants safe. So this is the smart component.
And this smart component is based on some standard, I don't know, reference industry models for each type of plant, or
yeah. So
it is
currently
machine learning, or
so for the beginning, we cannot do machine learning before we have some units out in the field. But this is something that we are planning to do eventually to see if we can find the perfect conditions. But at the beginning, we're going to be working closely with Plantehnik, which is a large company in Tuzla, which has been doing agriculture for decades. And their experts are going to give us all of the necessary knowledge and information at first. And then we're planning to have eventually some machine learning systems. So in our team, we have Eldar Kepić, who is already kind of a little bit experienced in this. He's made some machine learning programs before, and we are planning to also use this type of technology for plant disease detection, which I'm aware is something that's currently being researched in some places.
All right. Thank you, Dražen, for the question. We have a question in the chat, but I see there's people in here with their hands. Edin was first on my screen, so Edin, I'm going to give you the word.
Sure. Great area to be at. Many entrants also. I see that there's no actually hardware engineers on your group team, and I saw the price of about €800 for the one greenhouse integration.
Yes, that is correct.
Does this actually include, I mean, I'm not assuming just going get a sensors and app up and running, but you actually have to have a whole bunch of stuff integrated with existing greenhouses, you know, the ventilators, etc., etc. So to me, this seems like rather low price.
Yeah, we sort of had a problem with this because one of our partners is a Chinese company, and they are going to be providing us with most of the hardware we need. But the prices they gave us are very low. We negotiate with some other ones, and they do seem to be in the same range as the others, but they were lower than we expected. So we are still, even at this 800, we are still going to be taking profits on this. Overall, our profit margins are about 40%, which is already quite high. And we're not sure if we want to be too greedy at the beginning, so we're planning to try out this price. And if the demand outpaces how much we can produce, we can always hike the price up a bit.
All right, Milad, go for it.
And yeah, sorry, just to answer the question fully. This does also include all of the other hardware, so ventilators and also motors for opening up the greenhouse automatically and stuff like that. So all of it is included in the price. But this is for a 100 square meter greenhouse.
Yeah. Thank you. Great presentation. I thought really well done. I think the main challenge, at least from my perspective, is, and I think you touched upon it early on, was the education, right? Getting the people in Bosnia specifically as your initial market, when it sounds like test your technology, is their ability to adopt this technology. So my question is, your comment around partnerships, is that for you to take this technology outside of Bosnia in the markets that are a bit more advanced from an adoptability perspective? Can you comment a little bit about your strategy around using partnerships to grow, either in Bosnia or outside?
Yeah, all right. That's a very good question. Thank you. And initially, from our perspective, our biggest challenge is going to be twofold. One of them is actually getting people to buy this, because it's not very adaptable, as you've said. It's not an adaptive market here. But the other problem would be our own production capacity. And this is why we need an investment. Because right now, all of us on the team have been working for free. We actually invested beyond the money we got from Mosaic. We also invested over 1,000 of our own money. And we're planning to keep doing that. But if we got an investment, we could set up some sort of production mechanism to do it a bit faster and potentially open ourselves up to the rest of the Balkan market. So here you can see we're actually intending to try and get the countries like Macedonia, Romania, Bulgaria. We think that there will be a bit less competition in these fields, and there is a lot larger agricultural industries in most of these countries. So when it comes to the strategy of working with businesses first, when we were discussing with Plant, they will be interested in getting a whole bunch of units from us at once. So if we want to sell 40 units in the first year, we don't need any additional customers. Plant would be willing to buy more than 40, but this is what we think we can produce on our own. So that is one of our main limits right now, and this is going to enable us to start and get the money rolling, which is going to enable us to start bigger scale production and start exporting.
And how much is it? So when you say unit is the greenhouse itself with the added technology that self-regulates or regulates the environment? Is it both the technology and the greenhouse itself?
It is just the technology. So the greenhouses themselves, either people already have them, or if somebody wants a greenhouse and the technology, they would have to build a new greenhouse.
And how much does it cost you to make the unit, what you're calling the unit?
Yeah, so the unit is 800 here, and for the cost, that's a bit complicated. Just a second. So actually I have this here. So this is a giant spreadsheet that calculates the cost of different components which are necessary for building the unit, and it adds everything up for different sort of scales. But the most typical unit we would be selling would end up costing us around, I think 700. Yeah, I think this is the one. So around 700 BAM or 350 euro. But this is for a small greenhouse, which we think are probably going to be most popular with individual buyers. But for larger greenhouses, which are for businesses, they're going to cost us about 500 euro, and we will be getting 800 from it. However, we also expect to have some additional sources of revenue besides just the sales.
I'd like to kind of put it to the end. The questions,
Oh,
Eddie, if you
sorry.
have one really quick one, go for it. But we are over the time limits. All right, I'll take that as I'm gonna ask later. Sorry, Eddie, don't hold it against me. Thank you,
Yeah,
team.
I apologize.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you, Zerin. Lovely presentation.